Hi, everybody, and welcome to Unwind Design. My name is Kimberly. I'm your instructor for today. So starting off with what we have in front of us, we have an 11 by 14 size canvas, long ways. We're going to be drawing Hei Hei from Moana, the little character. It's a chicken character, super adorable from Moana. We're going to be drawing Hei Hei today. Next, we are going to have a fan. So if you don't have a fan, you can use a piece of cardboard, or if you have an outlet nearby, you can use a hair dryer. This helps the process go on a lot smoother. For those of you that are watching the video, at any point you can pause and move ahead or rewind or whatever. This is recorded live, so I will be addressing the video as if I am instructing a class, because I am instructing a class. So yeah. Next we have a pencil and an eraser. We have a towel. I also have a container of water. And the brushes we're going to be using are going to be our large background brush. I'm not sure if we're going to use this one much. Maybe just a little bit. Our medium square brush. Our round tip brush that comes to a point. And our detail brush, okay? The colors that we're going to be using as well are going to be our primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. Our highlight and our shadow color, white and black. And our extra colors, green and brown. We are going to be making some purple in this as well, so don't worry about that. I will teach you how to make that mix, but you don't need to have it in here. If you already have it and you do just want to have it in here and not mix any colors, then you could go ahead and do that as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is actually outlining our character today. So we are going to start off with the head and then the top little head part that sticks out of our rooster, okay? So we're going to start off with the head. We're going to leave about 4 fingers or a hand worth of space on top, down. And then at that level, right in the middle of our canvas, we're going to just make a line. Okay. Again, you are going to be needing an eraser. Okay, and we are going to do a largish round oval shape. Right in between the middle here, we're going to do a little arch. And it's going to be on the middle lower half. It's going to be a upside down triangle shape underneath. And on top, you're going to connect it by making a round line. From here, we're going to come in on the sides of the mouth. And we're going to do this line here. Notice that the line goes straight down, and then it starts to curve towards the right. And on the left, it goes down and it starts to curve towards the left. Okay, we're going to take these lines a little bit lower, past the head, and we're going to curl them up on the ends. From here, we're going to bring our line straight up, and we're going to just make a little hoop around to the other side. So then from here, we are going to go on the sides of this jowl thing here on the side, and we're going to make a big circle. Okay, and it's going to come out off the side of the head a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and we have those 2 circles around the eyes. Next, we're going to erase above the eyebrow a little bit. See, so I'm going back a little bit up above the eyebrow, and I'm extending a line out to the side here. I'm not going all the way around. I'm ending a little bit in that corner. And this is going to be the eyelid. Hei Hei's eyelid. Okay. How cute is that? I love this. So adorable. Okay. So above the head, we are going to come in and we're going to do the top of the head thing. It goes all the way up, comes out to the side, curves up left corner, starts to curve towards the right. And we go about maybe 4 fingers full of distance across. And here, we go right next to it in the corner, go up a little bit. We could do 1 lump, 2 lumps. Right here, they start to get a little bit bigger. Notice they're small, pointing down, and then these, as you go to the right, are pointing up towards the right corner. Bottom right, top right. And they're a lot bigger. So there we go. We're going to start working on the bottom half. The bottom half is very easy. We're going to make a small neck. Okay, leave some space between the sides of the jowl. And we're going to go straight down. Then once we start to reach towards the bottom, we're going to come in and we're going to make it look kind of like a little beaker, a little science beaker. Okay, so it looks kind of like a scientist bottle. See that? Nice and round in the bottom. Beneath this, we're going to make two little lines coming down, cut it off right in the middle, and we're cutting that in half. We're going to do the same thing lower, stretch it, and we're going to be doing the little feet going towards the right. So straight line down. At the bottom, you start to make a line towards the left. Do that about maybe 2 fingers worth. Then you bring it back up, scoop it down, and connect the 2 lines. See, so he has his little feet right here. On the ground, we do some grass on the right, and on the left, we do some more grass as well. Right on top of the vial, we go a little bit up the belly, and we're going to start to do this shape going into the belly a little bit. See that? And that's going to be the bottom of our chicken. Okay. Once we are cut up with this, we're going to be moving on to the tail feathers. So the tail feathers are going to be coming up towards the top of the body here, a little bit above the hip. We're going to start out and we're going to make a line going towards the left, inclining upwards just a little. Okay, we're coming down, making those tail feathers. We're going to bring it in, do some zigzags up towards the bottom right. Then we're going to come in and we are going to go a little bit higher up. And we're going to be doing the other tail feather, kind of curving over it, past, towards the left. And this one is going to be a lot thicker. So we're bringing it up, inclining up, kind of creating a little triangle peak here. We're going to start to curve it. It's going to start going down towards the bottom right. And then at the end here, we're going to be curving, coming up, making a line up towards the corner of the left. Then we're starting to incline that one even more, lower towards the left. And then this one is going to start inclining down towards the left before we go and start plummeting down. From here, same thing. We're going to just make a little curve upwards, make sure we leave enough space here. Make it a little bit spiky. Start inclining it down from here. We're starting to incline it towards the right. So we're inclining it, we're coming down. And we're going to touch right at the edge right there. Come right back down on that tail section. Okay, and there we go. We have our Hei Hei drawn out. So we are going to begin to paint him in. So we're going to be starting off first with our yellows and our browns, only because we want to start with our lighter colors. We're not going to be painting anything around today, so we want to make sure that we can maintain the rest of the painting kind of clean, okay? So that's today's task. We're keeping everything clean. Since this is more of an illustrative painting, we want to make sure that it stays as neat as possible. Okay, so our paints are very sticky. Make sure that you concentrate on the water percentages. If it's too runny and you add too much water, it's going to be too clear. We are going to ask to do that for a glaze. But other than that, you want your paint to be creamy, not sticky or not super watery, okay? Unless I say for us to make it watery. So we are actually going to make it watery. First, we are picking up our detail brush. Our brush is like a sponge, and when we push it, the water comes out. So make sure that you mix it very well using the bristles of your brush into your paint. So we are picking up a little bit of that white, adding some water to it. And we're going to make a very light glaze. Picking up that white, and we're picking up a tiny little drop, not exaggerating, a drop of red into that white. Okay, make sure that you add a good amount of water. And we're going to start off with our first glaze. Cool. So we're coming in with our first glaze, and we're going to start off on the side of our left eye. It's going to be a very light pink. You're not supposed to be able to tell too obviously that it's there. There we go. You can't very see it much here, but it is here. There is a highlight on there. Let me get it a little closer. See, you can see the light pink around the eyes there. It's a very light highlight. Okay, So from here, we're going to wash our brush and we're going to start to paint in our neck. Okay, so we're using our yellows first. This is going to be a lot of different varieties of yellows. We're going to start off first with our plain yellow. And let's add just a little bit of white to that. Okay, and let's start painting with that yellow going down our neck. So next, we are going to be making that yellow. We're going to be combining just a drop of brown into it. Okay, a tiny little amount of brown into our yellow. Okay, and this yellow is going to actually be part of our shadow. So we're going to add, like I said, part of that brown yellow underneath the neck. See, we have a little bit of a shadow there. And we're going to bring it out and start to curve it in towards the side of the neck here. And we're going to get some of this yellow orange and we're going to start to make some lines going upwards. You see that from the bottom? We're going to start to scrape some lines going up. So our pressure is not that hard. We're pressing very lightly. We're pressing and then releasing, letting the hair scrape on. So pressing and then choop, just flicking it and letting it be nice and thin, making it look more of like a transition. And we're bringing these lines closer to the bottom. So then from here to this brown and yellow, see that? I'm gonna come in and start incorporating some red. And we should get a very deep orange out of this. Super nice. Let's go back, add a little bit more red. Let's add a little bit more brown. Let's add some of that yellow. All right, so I'm coming in with that orangey red. And I'm gonna bring it from the bottom of this section up from each of these little tips. Okay, we're bringing up these points to the top here. Cool. All right, so once we are done with this, we're gonna start to move up towards the face, okay? We're gonna be working on the bottom half, or you know what, let's work on the feet actually. The feet are yellow. So moving on, we're gonna be working on the feet. We're gonna be grabbing our yellow and we're gonna be painting in his feet with that yellow. Okay, so let's paint that in. Okay. Next, you could get that shadowy orange painted down the side of the leg from the top down. So I'm coming in with that, coming in from the top, putting it on the sides, putting it down on the bottom of the foot. And right at the bottom line, making a straight line. And then making some lines going up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right underneath, since we're already working on there, we're going to get some brown and some white. I'm going to get brown, white, add a little bit of yellow to it. And right at the bottom, underneath his feet, we're going to go ahead and just apply some dirt. Right underneath his feet, since we're working with that, with those colors. So it was brown with white and a little bit of yellow. Okay, you can also go with some plain brown and put it underneath Hei Hei, so it looks like there's shadow there. Right underneath his feet, just him. You can add a little bit around just to give it some more texture, make it look like there's more dimension here. All right, so then from here, we're going to be moving on to the head now. And in the head, we're going to be starting to use some red. So we're going to go in and fill out these sections around first. Going in with our square brush, we're picking up our bold red. Add just a tiny drop of black into it to make sure that it's nice and deep. And it's not a super bright red. If you already have a deep red, then you're good. My red's a little bit on the pink side, so I'm adding just a little bit of black to make it darker. And we're going to start to fill in around Hei Hei. We're going to stick to painting underneath the left eye, in between the jowl, and underneath the right eye of Hei Hei's face before we move on to the top of his head. And we're going to do the same thing going up the side of the head. We're going to begin to fill that in with some of that red as well. And we're going to fill in the top of the head with those colors, okay? And then we're going to go in and add all the details to that red. You can also add a tiny drop of black to your red to make it just a tad bit darker, or go on top of the dried red to add a second coat to make it a little thicker and darker as well. We're done with that. We're going to begin to paint in the jowl with just the plain red. Try not to mix any dark red into that, just so that it stands out in front of the darker red that you added in the background. Next, using that drop of black into red, we're going to go over the center of the face and anywhere that an eye or an eyebrow is connecting to an eye, wherever there's connections. We're going to go in and add some shadows. I added it behind the brow bones, underneath the cheekbones, behind the jowl, and that'll make all the lighter sections pop up a little bit by creating a three-dimensional effect of shadow. Next, using our plain red, we're going to go in and begin to fill in the top of Hei Hei's head, We're going to begin by outlining using the corner of our brush to create an outline of the shape of those wiggly spaces, those little curves. We're going to fill it in. Make sure to remember to pick up some water if you see that it's too scratchy. If you see that it's too watery, then add a little bit more paint. And we're going to continue to fill these spaces up before we move on to adding the shadow. So for our final shadow, we're going to grab a little bit of red with a drop of black, mix it together, and we're going to apply it to the left side of the top of Hei Hei's head. We apply the shadow behind the eyelids, underneath the eyes, and in between the jowl. And that's going to be the final shadows we add before we move on to our next step. All right, so for some details now that we're going to be adding, we're going to pick up our detail brush real quick, and we're going to be mixing a purple. So how do you make purple? You're going to be mixing a little bit of your blue into your red so that we can get a purple color. And that purple is going to be going beneath Hei Hei's eyelids. Okay? So we're going to add a little bit of that purple underneath the eyelids. Okay? Again, blue and some red. Okay, blue and red. And to make it stand out, since we can't really see it, we're going to come back with just a tiny drop of white right around the eyelid itself. There you go. See, and now you're going to be able to have all that purple stand out a little bit more. Just a little bit more of that white. Okay, so a little bit of that purple underneath the eyes. Next, we're going to be making a light pink. So we're going to get some of that red and we're going to be mixing it in with our white. And we're going for a lighter pink. It's not going to be super light yet. We're still trying to keep it kind of in the middle. So it's going to be sort of a darker pink. And just add a little drop of yellow in there. There we go. Cool. Now we're starting to get that peach pink we're wanting. There we go. A bubblegum pink. There we go. Okay, so with that pink, that's what it looks like. We're going to be coming in and we're going to add a little bit of a highlight above the eyebrow. Okay, there's a highlight there. We're adding a little bit of a highlight on top of this one as well. Same thing underneath the jowl here. We're going to add a little circle of that pink going up the inner part of the jowl. Okay, right in the middle here, we're going to make a little bit of a design of this pink just kind of fading to the side of the head there. Okay. So we're starting to add a little bit of a variety of color in here. Okay, coming back with some more of that bright pink. We're going to actually add some right here in between the red and the ends. So we're separating this now, bringing it in, adding a little bit of a highlight of a brighter pink. Okay, so we got our pinks there. And then now we're going to do an even lighter pink. So we're going to add more of that white onto our pink to make it even brighter. Okay, and we're going to outline the tips of this section. So we're going in. We're adding a little bit of a highlight there. And there we go. We're going to go with just a little bit more white and add a slight highlight over the eyebrow once more. Maybe add a little bit of a highlight up here. Okay. You can also add some shadows if you want as well, with a little bit of black in your red. You can make a deep red, and you can add some shadows in certain sections if you want to bring some out. Like right here, we could bring this section out a little bit. Right here around the nose, we can bring this out a little bit too. Very subtle with some deep red. I'm going to make this section just a little bit darker as well. I think it might have been a little bit too bright. If at any point you feel like your left side is a little too light, go in and apply a darker red again. We do want to see that deep contrast from dark to light colors. And when it dries, it's going to look very nice. It's going to give you that 3D feel I keep talking about. So from here, we're going to be moving on to the bottom of the body now. And that's what Hei Hei should look like right now. Again, if you want to add some shadows, it helps to add some maybe above the gel, towards the bottom of the gel right here. I don't think we outlined this section, but it helps to add a little bit of shadow there too. Yeah, it really is going to add some shape to our design of the face. Okay, so moving on, that's what our Hei Hei should be looking like. We are going to be working on the bottom part of our body now. Okay. So moving downwards, we are going to be painting our Hei Hei body with our round tip brush. And the colors we're going to be using are going to be green and blue. That's going to be the first combinations of colors that we're doing, okay? So we're picking up our green, putting it in the middle, okay? And then we're adding some of our blue with it. And that blue with green mixture, it's going to be the color of Hei Hei's body. See that? It's almost like a teal. Okay, so we're going to paint Hei Hei's body with this color all the way around. We're going to paint his legs too. Okay, and we're also going to be filling in the tail feathers with this color, okay? As we continue to go along, the second layer of color that I'm going to be adding is going to be some plain blue. I'm sticking to the bottom of the tail feathers. I'm also going to do one slight line right in the center to divide it, make it look kind of like a leaf. And I'm attaching it to the left side of the stomach, some of the center, and right underneath each of those orange peaks to make it look as if there's some shadow underneath. You see that? There we go. So again, my next color is going to be that blue, and we're just creating the effects of some different varieties of color in there. Next, you're going to see me using some lime green. So you're going to see me using a little bit of lime green, and you're going to see me using some baby blue. So blue with a little bit of white. You can use that same color that you've been using with this. Just mix a little bit of white into it, and that'll give you the baby blue. And next, it's going to be your lime green, which is green with a lot of yellow. Okay, so you're going to see me just doing some dots and some lines with those colors. Again, it's the same green we did here, blue and green, with white for our baby blue color. And then we're going to be using green with yellow for our lime green. I'm going to start to place some baby blue lines underneath. I'm doing very small lines. I'm not making it super big. I'm trying to blend it into the background. We're just creating a slight highlight. When you are going to apply a very bold baby blue with or some white, um, try to apply them in small dabs and try to go with the movement of the tail feather. If the tail feather is curving to the right, curve your white or baby blue dabs to the right. Make sure that you also do your lines vertically and horizontally as far as the lime green. That is really going to make your painting pop. Okay, so we're going to be using some lime green on our grass, and we're also going to be adding some white around the eye just to straighten out the eye a little bit, okay? I'm coming back and retouching some of this pink a little bit just because it dried and it wasn't so bright anymore. So again, I'm coming in just kind of brightening this pink up a little bit more on these sections specifically. Okay, around the eyebrow a little bit. There we go. Cool. So from here, we're going to go in and we're going to add some grass, some of that lime green to the grass as well. Coming in with our lime green, green and yellow. And we're going to just start to kind of paint over the top like this. Okay, make sure you grab enough of that. And then we're going to be adding some green grass here. And then you're going to see me add some white around just to straighten out the eyes before we go in and paint the beak. Okay, we're going to be painting the beak with some yellow and orange as well. Okay, so I'm going to finish painting this grass. We're going to move on to outlining the eye, and then we're going to work on that beak. To add a variety of different greens to your grass, be sure to add a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, maybe even a little bit of blue, and you'll start to get different shades of color in your grass. Here I'm beginning to use some white to outline the eyeballs again, making them nice and circular. This is an illustrative piece, so our lines have to be straight for the most part. To work on our beak, we're going to be using some red and yellow to create an orange, and we'll be using some yellow and white as well. I will go through that in a bit. We're going to start with our yellow to fill it in. Coming in there with some more yellow and white, filling in that beak. Okay, so we're doing the beak, filling it in. Okay, and on part of the beak, we're going to be grabbing that darker orange that we made earlier. And we're going to be filling out part of it with that, giving it a little bit of a shadow on the left half side. We're also going to grab a little bit of that light orange, and we're going to fill in that corner with the orange that we had. There we go. So the final thing we have left to do is to outline the whole thing and do the eyes. So starting off with our eyes, we're grabbing up a little bit of black. Okay, and we're gonna do a circle right up here. Okay, and we're gonna fill that in with some black. Next, right here in the bottom, we're gonna be doing the other eye. Okay, so once we're done outlining this eye the way that we want it, then we are gonna go in and outline the rest, waiting for our eyeball to dry. So we're gonna wait for it to dry, and we're gonna go in and we're gonna outline everything around our Hei Hei. The tail feathers, the belly, the legs, the feet, we're gonna be doing all of it, okay? So I'm gonna start off outlining the top first, then I'm gonna outline the head, and then I'm gonna outline the rest of the body. Okay, so from here, we're gonna grab this small detail brush, picking up some of this white, and we are gonna add the dot right over here towards the top of the right corner. And there we go. Right here, we're gonna do the dot right towards the bottom corner. we go. All you have left after this is to grab a fancy color, your blue, your green, your lime, whatever color you like, yellow, and just come in to the right and do your signature. After that, you're done. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you soon.